Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Just Saying Football with Jack and Sean. I'm your host, Sean Gann, alongside my partner, Jack and Nicholas. We're here to bring you news, notes, weekly updates, and game analysis of your favorite teams from around the league. If you don't have the chance, go check out our website, justsayingfootball.com, and follow us on Instagram at Just Saying No G WJS for article and video updates. You're probably wondering who's this beautiful man right below us in this video. That is our friend of the show and fantasy football player as well, Garrison Schwer. He just won our 2022 NFL Draft Challenge, so he has joined us as part of the show today. We're going to ask him some questions about the Giants, what he thought of this year's draft, what are his expectations for the next seasons, which teams he thought just sucked during the draft, which teams he thought were just gods during the draft, kind of a little bit of everything, and pick this man's brain.
Yeah, but congrats, Garrison. Tell us, just to start, what are, we just had the draft last week. Obviously, have you had time to absorb it, the Giants draft, and just, just the whole event in and of itself?
Yeah, it was definitely a spectacle. I remember watching the preseason with all the Vegas guys that didn't even know what football were because they probably have been inside of a casino for the past 50 years. But the whole entire process was good. Honestly, it was good to have a fresh start with the GM and coach with the Giants. Felt at least like I wasn't going to get completely Daniel Jones screwed over there. So that was good. But when expectations are low, you can only feel good afterwards, so that was kind of my take on it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you guys got Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal. I mean, Jack, we made the video while Jack was there. We were at the MetLife Stadium. I mean, that's pretty hype. You got arguably, what many people had as the top one or two guys in their positions, and they fell right into your lap.
It's kind of like Garrison said, though, it's like the only expectation I felt was like, I just didn't want them to get somebody I didn't want. And I didn't expect them to get the players that they were going to be able to get because, Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal were both like top two projected guys. And then all of a sudden we got them at 5 and 7. And like Garrison said, that you really do feel like the new regime is actually like focused on winning, which we haven't had in a little bit.
I mean, Gettleman was not the best GM. I think these moves already prove that they know what they're doing. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So thinking about this, and obviously the excitement that comes with the draft, this is that time where all 32 teams really do feel that they have that. And even the fan bases feel like they can really make a bid at the championship. So what are your expectations for the Giants going into the 2022 season, Garrett Bear?
The expectations are hopefully improvement. That's number one. I'll be honest. I hope that, the main key to unlocking the Giants offense is keeping our players healthy. That was a huge blow with, Tooney, Galladay, Sterling Shepard, obviously Saquon. I think Daniel Jones is even injured for a little bit there. Not that he was really helping the offense when he was healthy, but, expectations are if we can keep our players healthy, then we can actually make a build. Because I remember 2 years ago, there was a shot for us to make the playoffs. Obviously the NFC East is not the most, winningest division, but I think that we always have a shot if we can keep our players healthy, especially with this new talent and new coaching staff. I think it can bring a little bit of inspiration, and some key players kind of got to prove themselves. Daniel Jones on his last year, and Kenny Galladay, who really didn't show us anything with the huge contract we gave him. So hopefully, a lot of people are excited. Obviously, I'm not going to go full playoff, shot, but I think that there's definitely better expectations than the number 5 overall pick next year.
I love to hear that. So with that in mind, Giants haven't won 7 or more games since 2016. So over under on 7 wins this year for your team. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think you guys can get more than that, less than that?
I think we could hit 8, but I don't think we'll make the playoffs.
Interesting.
I think that, some teams are improving and some teams are, getting their stuff together, just like the Giants might. But I also don't have a complete faith in our quarterback, and quarterbacks really kind of make or break your playoff contention. So
yeah, it's hard to get excited with Daniel Jones as your quarterback. You're moving forward, but you also have this guy that you're kind of like, he's kind of like, the guy that you don't really know that well, but he's there, and you don't know if you have to what's going to really happen if you proceed forward with this conversation. And now all of a sudden here he is no option next year too. So he's got to play for everything with the first year head coach. It's kind of weird. I don't know. I miss Eli, you know.
You guys just miss that consistency at quarterback, I think, more than anything, which I totally get as well. But thinking about, you're talking about injuries also, Saquon Barkley, man. I mean, Pro Bowl running back at one point hasn't been the same since the injury. You think he can do well next season with Evan Neal now and Andrew Thomas playing much better last season in his second year? Obviously, the third year is that, full year where it all kind of comes together. So you think you guys got a chance for him to hit over 1,000 yards again, or be back to who he once was, back to Penn State days in year one with the Giants?
Yeah, not to sound the most biased, just because I'm obviously a Giants fan. I also was my number 2 overall pick in a dynasty fantasy football draft that hasn't really played out. I'm going to say that I think that he'll improve. Obviously, having a huge behemoth of a man in Evan Neal blocking for you is going to be reassuring that your team cares about your health. And he was showing that he was back until he again rolled his ankle in the most bizarre and unfortunate ways. I think that expectations are that he's going to have a solid season. I'm not going to say top 5 fantasy football player in the league like he did when he was a rookie. But I do think that as long as the offense does go to him, I felt like a lot of times last year they were holding him back, and also Daniel Jones wasn't really dumping it off to him because, everyone likes comparing him to Christian McCaffrey in the sense that, they kind of run the entire offense of their team. I don't know if they were trying to show off Daniel Jones and it didn't work out. That was, again, the old regime. So maybe there's different voices telling him different things. But I expect, him to bounce back. He's not going to be a superstar, but he's still going to be a star.
Still going to be a star, shining bright in the Big Apple. Love to hear that. Still the best running back in the city, that's for sure.
I think so.
Jack,
yeah.
right? I thought Jack was about to be like, no, Michael Carter.
No, I mean, it's just it's like Garrison said. I don't know about Saquon going forward. Like I'm looking at it like in my head, I want to think of a number of touchdowns that he could produce this year coming off the injury. Like is 8 all purpose fair? Like even 8 on the ground, it's hard. Like I want to make sure this Giants offense can score. We've seen the Giants offense go literally like 10, 15 games in a row or something over the last couple of years. I know it was the end of last season into the beginning of this season, but they never scored more than 20. And it was, we need to get that, Buffalo kind of offense that they're bringing over with Brian Dabble. But that does worry me a little bit for Saquon. Like you said, trying to show Daniel Jones off, I don't want it to be like a Josh Allen one man kind of throwing it off the gun and run. Their running backs haven't been known too much to produce in that offensive scheme. Yeah. So that worries me a little bit too, but I think it would minimize his potential of getting hurt, by not taking on that much responsibility, them airing it out that much more.
Yeah. And if the wide receivers can stay healthy during the season, and if Galladay, we joke that Galladay signed a big contract, but he came in, he didn't do anything, didn't even score a touchdown. If you're, wide receivers didn't score a touchdown from week 9 till the end of the season for the Giants, like that, you will not win games if you're not finding the end zone, obviously. But if your wide receivers aren't scoring at all for 8 weeks of the season, it's gonna be really hard, I think. But I do think that Brian Dabble brings a more balanced and more new age offense to the Giants that we just haven't seen in a long time, which is okay. Nothing wrong with old school ground and pound football, but we are seeing in the NFL, it's very pass heavy, a lot of new schemes coming at us. There's a reason why the Chiefs do so well. Yes, they have Mahomes, but they also scheme so well game in and game out. The Bills have been succeeding so well because they scheme so well. The Patriots have found success for decades because they scheme so well. And that's a huge part of it. And I think now the Giants are finally getting in that realm of okay, we need to do a little bit more with this offense than what we have been doing. But I think Barkley's going to be a big contributor of that no matter what. Because going back to the further point about Daniel Jones, quarterbacks make or break, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, Daniel Jones sadly isn't Josh Allen. I mean, maybe Brian Dabble will bring it out in him. We don't know. But, you know that the offense is still going to go through Barkley, and what you hope is that the offense is able to maneuver enough to find the Tonys and the Galladays. And I don't even know who your tight end is right now, because Kyle Rudolph and Evan Ingram aren't there right now, but to find your pass catchers.
Drafted one.
Yeah, Wan'Dale Robinson, LA man, second round. I don't know if you guys seen this guy. He's super fast though. He's like I don't know. Their offense in UCLA is weird because they do a lot of dump offs and a lot of reverses and stuff. But this guy gets so many yards, But thank God, I thank God I'm not looking at it from the Joe Judge perspective where he's like, we got to get everybody, to play for their max potential because he did not do that. And Brian Dabble's like, I'm just ready to play football. So hopefully, the culture shift actually has a positive effect.
Well, if the draft is any key, I think you can definitely see the culture shift already. And speaking of draft, Garrison, any other teams not named Giants that you were like, wow, great freaking draft? Because the Giants had a great one, that's for sure. Any other teams that you were like, wow, killed it? I'm impressed.
I mean, it'll probably sound like a broken record here, but the two big ones that stand out are, unfortunately or fortunately, I mean, I don't know if there's really that much of a rivalry, but our friends in green, the New York Jets, they had an incredible draft, I think.
Yeah.
There was some questions about, drafting a cornerback that high. I thought that they probably needed to care a little bit more about their defensive line and pass rushing. But, it's still a reach and still a great player to pick up. And the Giants would have loved to have him too, especially, if we could have had him and Thibodeau, but, we need the offensive line. And then the Ravens had some incredible picks that, are definitely being highlighted with, a guy, Kyle Hamilton, who was previously thought of as a top 5 pick. I remember reading, and they drafted him. What was it?
14.
15.
Yeah. That's incredible value. Tyler Linderbaum, whatever, who's, again, he's limited in his role, but he was one of the best center prospects, of the past, 5-10 years. So they always do a good job. They even filled their need for a pass rusher after they didn't get to pick up the Packers. Forget his name.
Zadarius Smith.
Yes, Zadarius Smith. After they locked in, they were
the Vikings got him.
Yeah, we did. I love that.
So yeah, I think those are the two big highlights that kind of hit. They obviously had a lot of picks to use. Yeah. Jermaine Johnson also a really good pass rusher, which they filled with the Jets.
One for the Jets. I love the Jets. I mean, I will say this. I don't know which of the 3 first rounders for the Jets, but statistically, one is not going to pan out. This is nothing against the Jets, but when you have 3 first round picks or even 2 first round picks, usually one doesn't pan out. I'm not sure which one that is, but as of today, when you look at what they were able to accomplish in their draft, they got their wide receiver, they got their cornerback, and they get their edge rusher in the first round. Today, great job. That was a freaking amazing draft. Then getting Hall in the second round was a good pickup.
It's kind of upsetting how it's like Sean, it's he's out of line, but he's right because he's got 3, having 3 picks, how successful people get out of these drafts. It's crazy.
It's hard.
And all 3 of these guys we were so incredibly high on, the whole winter. We were Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson. And it was shocking. I remember just watching the draft and being I can't believe the Jets are actually getting these guys. Stingley going 3 definitely, I feel pushed them to go for Sauce at 4. Like you said, Garrison, I think that was a little high. Wouldn't have minded him at 5. But I feel like a lot of teams, we were talking about it a little before off camera, just teams took advantage of having multiple firsts. This was kind of the trickle down from the COVID draft or the post year. People went into last year's draft and some people took off. Some people wanted to kind of build their capital with new coaches, a lot of adjustments they had to make. And I feel like a lot of teams built capital last year. And now that they did, it just kind of fell into the lap of the Jets, the Ravens, the Eagles, the Giants. All of these teams made gigantic strides just with their first round picks. And then they got a lot of complimentary playmakers at late days too.
Yeah, this is a hot take that I just said off the camera that I told you guys I was going to bring into this. Wouldn't surprise me if the Eagles dethrone the Cowboys for the East this year. I know you guys don't like to hear it. We're all I'm a New Yorker. You guys are New Yorkers. Fuck Philly. I'm 100% with you with that. But I will say their moves in the draft, their trade for Adre, this team is looking solid. They got Nakobe Dean in the 3rd round. That's an absolute steal.
And Jordan Davis, his best friend, is right there. So, the people are like, oh, he's got to get surgery. Like, he's going to have all the motivation that he needs to come back. And thank God he's, playing the Giants twice a year. But, I mean, when it comes down to it, the Giants, we need to beat these teams. We need to beat both of those teams if we want anything out of like this, but we get rocked on our offensive line and our defense, like we never get any pass rush on these guys. And like, we just fixed that with these two guys. Like I still don't believe that we have Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal because it doesn't seem real.
Well, when you can buy his jersey in the NFL shop, that's when you'll know it's officially real for you. Now it's going to feel nice. Future birthday gift for Jack, maybe. Who knows? Last question, and then we'll let you go, Garrison. We know you're a busy individual. Any drafts that you thought just sucked? Like you were just like, what are you doing? Stop.
I mean, let me think about it. Let me scroll through. I was gonna even say like a sleeper draft was the Atlanta Falcons. I thought that Desmond Ridder was a phenomenal like late steal.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But crappy drafts, I could argue that the Packers kind of had a bad draft. I really don't think that they did enough to, fix all the holes that they have on their team. They lost a lot in the offseason. Obviously, the trade with Devontae Adams and everything like that. They brought in another guy, but I don't really, I don't follow college basketball, but from what I'm reading, he's kind of just in the same type as Adam Lazard, who hasn't really thrived in the Aaron Rodgers, type offense. Obviously, everyone's going to defer to the number one, which was Devontae. But even when Devontae was injured, Adam Lazard didn't really step up or anything like that. So I would say that, Chauncey, you're going to like it, with the Vikings. But I thought that the Packers had a bad draft, if you want to put it bluntly.
I love hearing that. That's fine with me.
It's so weird that a franchise that's like as storied as the Packers, like the fans are literally like part owners, like they are literally invested into this team, and they are now becoming famous the last like 5 years. Like, they're not going to draft a player that they need. Like that's the whole point of the draft. Like, it's kind of like Belichick. It's like if you're on top, go trade the 1st round picks. Like, don't go get Jordan Love and then go pick AJ Dillon in the 2nd round while you got Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones. Like, they're doing this again, and then they get Quay Walker. Like, they got the guy that Nakobe Dean got drafted, like, instead of Nakobe Dean. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense sometimes, like, what the Packers are doing. But it's good for Chauncey, I'll tell you. But, like,
look,
it's
no Devontae Adams.
The smile on his face.
Like, I'm happy that there's no Devontae Adams. He gave me nightmares. So I'm like, knock on wood. The wooden chair next to me, but like, Vikings have a chance, I think, to actually take the North. But one thing I will say about the Packers draft, their 2nd round pick, who they traded with us for. I don't know why we're trading with our own enemies in this draft so much. With the Lions in the 1st round and then the Packers in the 2nd round. As like a fan, I don't love that. They got Christian Watson at North Dakota State. I don't know if he's going to be good. He's a big body guy, but some notable 2nd round draft picks from the Packers do include Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, and I believe Greg Jennings was also a 2nd round pick. So they've seemed to find success with wide receivers in the 2nd round. I'm hoping that Christian Watson doesn't continue that, just so I can enjoy the downfall of the Packers for a little bit longer. But just to gas them up a little bit, historically, Green Bay, you do a great job at picking 2nd round wide receivers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty nuts though how Devontae Adams completely out. I mean, now you guys have Andrew Booth. Like, there's actually they're kind of like letting you guys kind of get back into it. It sounds so bad.
Oh yeah, they're letting us. Thanks Green Bay. Thank you for letting us be a competitive team all of a sudden.
I mean, they get Quay Walker, you get a rookie at the linebacker, Dalvin, couple of moves. Big game. That's all I'm saying. He loves to have big games against the Packers.
I know that was a great one 2 years ago. 205 yards, 3 touchdowns.
I mean, and the one thing about the Packers draft that made me mad is they could have got Treylon Burks, and Aaron Rodgers wanted Treylon Burks, and everybody wanted Treylon Burks to literally go there the whole time, and then you get a position you do not need. I think
they made the right call not getting Burks. You know,
disagree?
no,
Without
I think it was a great choice for them not to get it because
Oh,
now my defense doesn't need to deal with him. So thank you. Good job.
Good job.
Good job.
You tricked me there. You got
Good job. Good job. All right, Garrison, that is all the time that we have. Thank you for winning. You've been so great to have on the show. Wrong sport, by the way, wrong football.
Cool.
Yeah, they got a chance to possibly win the Champions League again. But that is all the time that we have. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Garrison, thank you again. Congrats on winning.
Yeah, thanks, Garrison. Hopefully you don't have to, you don't win our championship league, but you do win this. This is your win for the year. But just, we'll make sure that, you just check out justsayingfootball.com, Just Saying Football on YouTube, and Just Saying No GWJS on Instagram for all your article video updates. Thank you again, Garrison.
Thank you.